And we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mag to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. What's up, folks? Hope you all are having a great day. Hope you get your week started off right, and go ahead and attack the day, win the day, start your week off right on a Monday, because that's how you're gonna set yourself up for a great week. If you don't win Monday, you can't win the week. So that's what I'm leaving you with right now before we get into the podcast. But we got a cool little framework for y'all today for the podcast. And I apologize ahead of time. I cannot remember who told me I heard of this framework at. I own a podcast. I was listening to a podcast and I was like, ooh, that's great. And it wasn't a fitness podcast. It was like a business podcast or something. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I heard this framework and I was like, oh, this is great. I could use this on my podcast and make it fitness related, because really you could use it for anything and relate it back to whatever it is you're trying to do. But I think it'd be great for fitness as well. And this podcast, I mean, not this podcast, this framework is called the ZAPS framework. ZAPS. So ZAPS. ZAPS. The ZAPS frame. I don't know if that's the actual name of it. It's just ZAPS is the acronym. I don't know if it's called the ZAPS framework, but that's what I'm calling it. It's basically what it is. So what is the ZAPS framework, and how can you use it, in your fitness journey to get fit? So it's a mindset tool. It's a tool that you can use, framework, to call out the real reason that you're not seeing results, or you're not sticking to your fitness journey or something like that. It's a framework that you can use. So I'll go ahead and tell y'all what it stands for. So Z stands for zoom in on the problem. So Z is zoom in on the problem. A is attach yourself to the problem. P is punish yourself. Now I know that sounds crazy. We're going to get to it. Give me a second. And then S is yourself or shrink your vision. So that's what ZAP stands for. And we're going to get into each one of those and talk about why you can use it, how you can use this framework, why you should use it, how to use it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with Z. So zoom in on the problem. So whatever the problem is for you, it may not be fitness related, it may be fitness related. So maybe your problem is you want to lose weight. Maybe your problem is you want to build muscle, or you just want to get there in general. But your actions are not aligning with that goal, or that, thing that you're trying to achieve. Your actions are not aligning. So this is the problem. We need to zoom in on this problem. We need to figure out what the problem is. Are you skipping workouts? Is that the problem? Are you eating whatever you want to? Are you binging on the weekends? Is that the problem? Are you scrolling on your phone instead of sleeping at night, getting in recovery? Is that the problem? Like, what's the problem? What's holding you back? We need to zoom in on this. Figure out what it is. It could be anything. It could be alcohol. It could be, just eating junk food, ice cream, I don't know, whatever, eating late at night, skipping your workouts, things like that. So what's the real reason you're not being consistent with your workouts, with your nutrition? What are you hiding behind? Like, what is that a scapegoat? Like, what is your what do they call it when you have not your arch nemesis, whenever you have something that you just can't give up? I forget there's a name for it. Whatever. What is that for you? Like, what's that problem? What's holding you back? What's stopping you? Think about it. I want you to think about it right now. Like, what's stopping you? What's holding you back? What's your problem? Your biggest obstacles? Like, what's that thing? And we want to zoom in on that thing. That's what we're trying to do with this ZAPS framework. We're going to zoom in on the problem. And then that's going to lead us to A, which is attach yourself to the problem. You need to make it personal. Make it about you, make it personal, make it unavoidable, so that you're aware of it. So zoom in on it, then attach yourself to the problem. So it's not just about missing leg day. It's about, disrespecting your own potential. It's about, not believing in yourself, giving up on yourself, not sticking to your word. That's what it's about. It's make it personal. It's not just skipping leg day. You need to make it about, make it about yourself, make it personal. So if you attach yourself to it, then it's going to mean more. It's going to, hold more weight. So I think every missed workout, every skipped workout that you do, that's just reinforcing the identity of someone who doesn't follow through on their goals. I'll say that again. Every time you're skipping a workout, or you're eating a meal you're not supposed to be eating, you're just reinforcing that identity that you're someone who doesn't follow through. Period. This is what I mean by attach yourself to the problem. So every time you're going to start over on Monday, you're just reinforcing the habit of quitting or starting over or failing. You're just reinforcing that habit. So we got to get rid of this. We want to zoom in on that problem and attach yourself to that problem. Ask yourself this. If someone followed you around with a camera, would they believe you're serious about your fitness goals? Would they believe it? Are you serious about it? If they followed you around the camera all day, if they were going to post it on social media, does your acts, do they represent your goals or what you say you want to do or what you believe you want to do in your head? Do your actions represent that? And if not, that's what we need to work on. So yeah, that's A. So zoom in, attach, and then next we're going to go to P, which is punish yourself. So call out the behavior, with consequences. So let's be real. You should feel comfortable when you make a promise to yourself and you break it. That should make you feel uncomfortable. Like that shouldn't make you feel good. It definitely don't make you feel good. So we got to make a punishment and make it productive. So say for example, you didn't eat clean this week, or you ate a meal that you weren't supposed to eat. Well, the punishment for that is now you got to track every single bite that you eat for the rest of the week or the next week, and you got to own it. You got to track every single little bit, food, protein, calories, all that, whole nine yards. Because nobody wants to do that. Let's be honest. It's not fun to sit there and track every single bite you eat. It's a process and it's tough. Some people do it and it works for some people, but for most people they don't want to do that. I'll be honest. I don't want to do that. So that's a punishment. If you cheat on your diet, you got to track every single thing from there on out. Or if you miss a day at the gym, you got to drop and do 50 burpees at home right then and there. You got to do it because you missed the gym. You didn't go to the gym, so you got to make it up by doing burpees. And I promise you, you don't want to do 50 burpees because that sucks. Or something. It don't have to be that exactly. It needs to be something to that effect. So make it some kind of punishment, something that's constructive, not something that's just gonna, be pointless. Just stupid. Make it something constructive that can help you get back on track and help you, make it something productive towards fitness. Don't just make it some random thing. Try to make it fitness related, but something that you don't necessarily want to do, that you don't enjoy. So punish yourself, because that's going to make you less likely to do the thing that you're not supposed to be doing if you know you have a punishment that's coming. So when's the last time you felt the cost of breaking your own word, in fitness? So yeah, there's not much to say there. It's just P is punish yourself. So every time you break your goal or you don't do what you say you're going to do, attach a punishment to that thing. So maybe you hate running. So maybe if you miss a workout, you got to go run a mile. Or if you ate a meal that you weren't supposed to eat, you got to go run a mile. Something to that effect if you hate running. Do something like that, like attach a punishment to it. So that's going to make you want to fail less, if that makes sense. You're not going to want to go back on your word or fail because then you have to do that punishment. Not fun. It's like getting a spanking when you were a child. You don't want to get a spanking, so you didn't do what your mama told you not to do because you knew there was a punishment. Same thing. Works the same way. Then that leads us to S. S, I know this sounds weird, but it's shame yourself or shrink your vision. So you either need to raise your effort to match your goal, or you need to lower your goal to match your effort. Does that make sense? If you're not putting in that right effort, then maybe your goal is too high. You need to shrink your vision. You need to shrink your goal. Or, well, that's what I'm saying. You need to lower your goal to match your effort level. Because if that's all you can give, then maybe that one goal is out of the picture. It's not attainable for you if you can't raise your effort level. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to shrink their vision because you set that goal for a reason, because you want to achieve that goal. So why would you shrink your vision? Because that's not what you want. You want the big goal. You know what I'm saying? So to me, the only answer here is to raise your effort level. If you really want to stick true to yourself. Unless your goal was just way out of this world and wasn't attainable to begin with, that's a different story. But yeah, you gotta paint the truth. You gotta tell yourself the truth. You can't just expect abs with a weekend warrior mentality. You know what I'm saying? You can't demand discipline and good results with just a casual approach. You got to be serious about it. You got to, take it serious. And when you fail, you're either going to shame yourself and say, man, you suck. You didn't do what you said you was going to do. You went back on your word. You failed. Or you need to shrink your vision and make your goal smaller, which to me, that's not an option, but it may be an option for you. Shrinking your vision may be something that works for you. If it does, that's great. Me, I'm just going to myself. If I don't do what I say I'm going to do, I'm hard on myself. I'm like my number one critic. And it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Like I hate when I set a goal or I say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it. Like I get so mad at myself. And yeah, some people may disagree and say you shouldn't do that, but it works for me. You know what I'm saying? It works for me. Like I don't want to fail. I want to prove myself right. I'll beat myself up about it. Unfortunately, that's just how I am. But it works for me. You got to figure out what works for you. Maybe shrinking your goal may work for you, shrinking your vision. So do your daily habits. Do they justify the body that you say you want or the goal that you say you want to achieve? Or is it time to stop pretending of that big goal, a big dream, and kind of bring it back down to reality? Shrink that vision. If your goal was to lose 100 pounds and you haven't lost 10 pounds yet, well, maybe you should bring that goal back down in. Bring it down to maybe 20 pounds, something more realistic, something that you can do. And then work your way back up from there. Because if you're not doing the things you need to do to lose 10 pounds, then guess what? You're never going to lose 100 pounds, ever. So sometimes you may have to shrink that goal, unfortunately. Now, this is not what I would recommend doing because, if you set a goal, there's a reason you set it. You shouldn't want to shrink that goal. If that's what works for you to get you back on track, to get you moving in the right direction, to make it seem like it's something more attainable. Because sometimes that works. When your goal is way too big, sometimes you just think, oh, that's too far. I can never do that. Like, that's not going to happen. So bringing it back down to reality, something you can actually achieve, is actually a good tactic for most people. It actually works. So S is shame yourself or shrink your vision. Maybe you can use a combination of those. Maybe you can, whatever works for you, use that one. ZAPS isn't just about making you feel bad. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I know I said shame yourself there for the S, but it's just a framework to use to help wake you up, for you to utilize, to wake you up, to let you know that you're capable of more. You can do what you set out to do, that goal that you wanted to achieve. But capability means nothing without consistency. You may be capable of doing something, but if you don't put in the work, if you're not consistent with it, then guess what? You're not going to do it. You got to be consistent just as much as you can be capable. You know what I'm saying? So ZAPS, it's a good little framework to utilize. So my challenge for you today and this week is to pick one fitness excuse, one problem, and ZAPS it. ZAPS it today. ZAPS it this week. So what I mean by ZAPS it, I just mean use this framework. Use the ZAPS framework on it. Zoom in on it. Attach yourself to it. Punish yourself if you don't do it. For that behavior. Punish the behavior. Every time you do that problem, whether that problem is missing a workout or eating whatever, punish yourself for that behavior. And then decide, are you going to step up? Are you going to attack the problem? Or are you going to shrink your vision? Which one are you going to do? Make that choice. So that's my challenge for you this week. So thank y'all so much for tuning into an episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast. If you hadn't yet, go ahead and subscribe. All podcasting platforms, YouTube at the Fitness Beginner Podcast. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, y'all tune in next week for another episode. And y'all have a great rest of the week and challenge yourself on a problem that you know you need to work on. Use the ZAPS framework or mentality around it and see if it works for you. I promise you, well, I don't promise you, but it helps if you can utilize the framework, because you point the problem out and then you go and you attack, overcome it. So go. Y'all have a great day. Peace, love, protein. We out.